This is my college essay. I knew a little boy with his foot on backwards. Right at the bottom of his thigh, instead of a kneecap, was his heel. His toes pointed toward the ground. He had big, dark eyes, a nose that would have been the perfect jump for a tiny skier, and presumably hair, but that was a mystery. It was always under some type of helmet. When we were really little, we'd gotten rug burns on our knees from crawling over obnoxiously bright carpet. As we got older, we'd chase each other around pews, getting scolded by hushes and side eyes. He made the mundane fun. Then he stopped coming to services. He stopped going to school too. Our friendship became mediated by our mom's text messages, reporting back instead of experiencing side by side. I'd sit next to my mom, kicking my feet as we looked through photos of him, scaling trees and climbing cliffs, his helmet on tight and his foot on backwards, like a tiny action figure. He was the reason that when asked about my plans on career day, I responded, pediatric oncologist. My first grade teacher declined to press further. My classmates, on the other hand, were less reserved. What does that mean? They'd ask. It's a cancer doctor for kids, I'd respond the way I rehearsed. Oh, that sounds sad. How little they know. Soon he and I will be a team. I'll get to see him again. He'll be like a wildcat, as adventurous as ever, but older now, more grown up. He'd teach me how to do all those cool things I missed out on, and in between it all, I'll help the kids he no longer resembles. It won't be sad if I'm good at it. Every night when I went to bed, even my eyes drooped, I'd force myself upright to kneel. I figured God could only hear you when you kneeled, but it was all right to keep on your blanket. I asked that everyone in my class think I was funny and they like me and think I was smart and good at things, but mostly I asked that he get better. I was worried if I wasn't consistent that we could fall off of his to-do list. When Mom got the text, I think I was 11, so he must have been 2. Her phone buzzed as she made breakfast. She checked and stopped stirring. Her elbows slid forward to catch her against the counter like a kickstand, trying to hold herself upright. I peeked over her arm and read what his mom had sent. I panicked and pulled my mom close. She breathed slowly. I don't remember feeling any particular way. I didn't know how to. His mom had to wake up today and send me that. My mom said it to my forehead, holding me tight. God didn't help him. I didn't want to be a pediatric oncologist anymore. I was upset for a while. This didn't make sense. He was so brave and bold and young. He'd always been there, every weekend, then every day in the back of my mind. Nothing could have prevented it. It didn't matter how good his pediatric oncologist was. It didn't matter if she had worked her whole life and wanted to save him with everything inside of her. He was gone. I wasn't gone. Every year I had a birthday, and every year he fell a little farther back into my memory with no reassurance of some future where that'd change. The fact that I remained was random. I wasn't important or smart, it wouldn't matter. My planning was pointless. Life doesn't work that way. His mom and mine grab lunch together every now and then. My mom has always been mildly disapproving of tattoos, but she let her rules be bent for the 4 little letters on his mom's wrist. Live, in his permanently messy handwriting. It wasn't long, it wasn't enough, but he had lived. He was only ever 11, but those were pretty dense 11 years. He had cancer. It took his hair, then his leg, then his friends, then his life. It could have taken everything, but the miracle was his inability to accept that. He got a rotationplasty and a prosthetic and learned to run in a series of one-legged hops and bounds. He was always climbing, always moving, always wearing a helmet over his lack of hair in every photo. He did not live out his life, but there is no doubt that he lived. He made suffering more than a life sentence. It's a negotiation as long as you make it one. My wishing hadn't helped. Surgery helped. I can't be a pediatric oncologist. I want to prove it's not over. Life can be truly lived with a foot on backwards. Thank you.